Hi and welcome to the Results-Based Training Podcast. My name's Bo Williams and I run small group training facilities in and around South Manchester. We work typically with men and women circa 35 to 40 plus, and our goal is to help them build the gym into their lifestyle consistently and permanently so that they can reap all the benefits and rewards that come alongside it. In today's episode, our guest is one of my clients called Gonda. She is a member of our Urmston facility, and she discusses her lifetime sort of relationship and journey to do with training, diet, how she has almost been able to reinvent herself through TBT Fitness and the gym. And without further ado, let's get into it. Gonda,
Hi.
Thank you very much for giving me your time today and coming down to the gym to talk about all things health and fitness. I want to start by just offering a bit of context as to why we're doing the podcast. I'm trying to create really relatable content, and I think by getting real people, like the clients that we generally work with at TBT and at RBT, on to have a chat. Anybody watching who might be looking for that little bit of inspiration or a nudge, or just kind of wondering how they're going to work on their health generally, it might feel easier, right? They can have something to relate to, or there might be a specific story. So what I'd love to do today is get a bit of an idea as to your kind of relationship with training generally from being young.
Yeah.
How did that look? Were you into it at school? Diet, lifestyle? Just because I think it's good for the viewers to have an understanding that you're not, or if you are a natural gym bunny and it's like something you're really into all the time, then fine. But also if you're not and it's not always something, then I think that's really helpful. So fire away.
No, exactly the opposite. Absolutely not naturally sporty. Wasn't very athletic in school. And actually joining TBT has been amazing for me because I was always that kid that, never great at PE. I almost would love to make excuses. I was really clumsy as a child.
Okay.
Always tripping up, always. So I just kind of was given that persona of, we've got other things going on. Sport's not really your thing. So actually it was a big deal for me to join the gym. I've always enjoyed gym workouts rather than sports because I can kind of do my own thing.
Okay.
But I was very cardio bunny. So doing all I thought, you know what? I'm just going to give it a go. If I don't like it, doesn't matter. And I loved it. And 3 years in, I still love it. And actually, it's that confidence and it's the fact that, do you know what? You don't have to be stuck with that label. And I think I've said it to you before. I think we were doing some bizarre exercise with TRX where you put your feet into the TRX. And and I was like, oh no, this is old clumsy Gonda. I'm going to lose my teeth here. I'm going to fall. And you were like, why? You can do this. I've seen you do this. I tried it. It was perfect. Same thing with box jumps. Those kind of things where I just assumed I wouldn't be able to do it.
Okay.
But now the confidence, and that's the amazing thing. It's not even necessarily, it's great getting stronger, all of that. But for me, it's the confidence and sort of creating that new persona almost, the new me that's strong and can do it, which is really nice.
So at school then, what were like the kind of things available in terms of sports? What was typical kind of PE?
So I grew up in Holland. I lived there since I was about 13. It's probably very similar to schooling in England. It's your hours PE lesson.
Okay, like teamy sports or?
Yeah.
Because it's a bit different, I find, in England, like across the country, like different areas have different things. So like football, rugby, cricket?
No, not really sports.
Okay.
I did used to play team sport, but not through school. I used to play volleyball.
Okay, awesome.
Which I loved. And actually, I'm not very tall now, but I grew tall quite young, so I loved volleyball then.
You did well at it,
I really, really enjoyed that. But that was outside of school. Just the usual sort of PE lessons. I don't know how else to describe it. But no, sport wasn't really a big thing in school for me.
Okay.
And those sports you've mentioned, I mean, Holland are a big football nation, but other than that, rugby, cricket, it's not really
the thing.
No,
okay.
so it's probably very different.
So it's because we spoke about this on an earlier podcast about schooling. It's almost like they pigeonhole you to do this specific type of.
Yeah.
And I think for a lot of kids, especially obviously young, it can then dictate the relationship with it for the coming 10, 20 years, right? Which I think it did that for me. I liked the team element of like, we did rugby and stuff like that at school, but whenever it was like running or athletics and again, similar to you really, I kind of got labeled as not really for you, you know, and then you kind of grow up a little bit thinking that. Yeah. But you mentioned gyms. So before us, gym was, you know, something you did regularly?
In my adult life I did, but it was very much just cardio, you know, treadmill, I don't know, that awful the stairs.
Yeah, the Stairmaster.
The elliptical,
like hell on
which
earth,
is everything, isn't it?
Yeah.
And it was very much actually to keep my weight down more than it was about getting stronger, the sports side of things.
So what started it then? Because obviously you've left school feeling the way you did.
Yeah.
When would you have said like roughly the age that you first joined a gym then?
I actually worked in a gym when I got out of school. I was 16. I didn't work physically in the gym. I worked in the cafe bar.
Okay.
For a really nice gym, like a family sort of, you know, with a swimming pool and all of that.
Yeah, okay.
Me and my sister worked in the cafe. My mum was a physio there. So we had some family membership and we always really enjoyed going as a family then.
Yeah, nice. Bit of a different dynamic then.
Yeah, it was nice. And that was kind of our social life. So it started there really. And that's where
and you'd go in and use the kit and stuff like that.
Yeah, use the facilities, but
cool.
It was never weightlifting. It was always just the cardio, swimming, that kind of stuff. Yeah.
Okay, and you talk about for weight loss, for example. So that was a motivator, because it's something I'd love to explore, because we've worked together a bit, haven't we? We've done a bit of tracking and we've had little focuses. That's changed then, has it, over the years as a motivator for you?
Yeah,
which
it really
is brilliant.
has.
So talk to me about that then.
Yeah,
how has that developed?
Well, I think you and I have touched on that before, haven't we? Just years and years of diet culture. And I've always struggled to keep my weight at a healthy range, really.
From being young? Or
from teenage years, so 16 onwards. University gained a lot of weight.
Okay.
It was obviously the pints.
Yeah, different lifestyle. Yeah. We've got to do it, haven't we? We've got to get stuck in. Okay.
And but then after university, I suddenly thought, gosh, I really need to do something about this. I need to and actually it was really just vanity. I wasn't that worried about my health at that stage. I was 18. But it was a real, vanity project, I suppose. And from there, it was just years and years of all the usuals, Slimming World, Weight Watchers.
Okay, interesting.
And just actually, it really, my whole body image was just shot through that. Yeah. I remember I used to always just go back to group, but I never learned anything. So groups like that, any slimming group really, I suppose you don't really learn about nutrition. It's all just about that weekly weigh-in, you know, and you do silly things. You're like, right, I'll just wear the lightest clothes. I'll not drink any water all day just to get that half pound off on the scale. Yeah. And it's so unhealthy, really. And like I said about body image, because at one point I would have been at quite a low weight and I went back to the group because I didn't know what else to do. And someone said to me, oh, brilliant, you're at your goal weight. And I was just so surprised that someone said that because I was starting again.
Okay.
And I thought, actually, there's something wrong here. I'm not learning anything. This is not the way for me. And from there, I've just tried to focus, but that's, again, when I did TBT and we're talking about tracking, I do really like that because I'm sort of learning a lot more about nutrition and how to build a stronger body. And what I really like now is that you can I've taken sort of the emotional element out of it. Yeah, and I treat it very much as a bit of and that's what cracked it for me. I treat it as a bit of a science experiment. So at the moment, I'm getting married in September.
Congratulations.
Thank you. So that's really exciting. And had that been a few years ago, I would have been stressing. I would have been doing all sorts of crash diets. And now I'm like, no, this is not the way. We'll just track calories. We've got a good training program. Ryan's helping me out with that in the gym, so that's great. But yeah, exactly that. Take the emotion out of it. It's just a science experiment. Right, if these calories don't quite work, either up my steps or adjust it a little bit, look at the feedback of the data.
Yeah, it's very good.
And it's nice looking at that because the emotion's out of it, you know?
Yeah, but I'm going to explore this with you now then, because how have you got there? Because that's a massive change, that, I think.
Yeah.
A massive change. Would you have said there was an emotional element to it when you were perhaps doing like the Slimming World or the crash diets, chasing scale weight, for example?
Huge, yeah. And I was thinking about that this morning because I thought this would probably come up in conversation.
preparing.
Yeah, of course. Well, that's me all over, That's me all
Preparing
over.
food. You're more organised than me.
Yeah, I was thinking about that a lot. And the emotional element. So I think, there would have been a time where somebody said as a compliment, "Oh, you've lost weight, you look great." That's nice to hear, right? But that would have meant more to me than someone saying, "You're doing brilliant at your job, you're a good friend, you're a good daughter."
Okay, wow.
And I thought, wow, that's actually really wrong, isn't it? That is more important as a compliment. I've done very well in work. If someone say to me, "Proud of you for doing that in work," or someone said, "Oh, you look great," that would have meant more to me. And I thought, how wrong is that really? With everything you've achieved.
Yeah.
And I think maybe that was the switch at some point.
Okay,
yeah.
So you've kind of observed that behaviour a little bit, and that's really, I think it takes for you to be a certain level of in tune with yourself to have got there, I think.
Yeah.
And that's really interesting and valuable thing for you to share, I think.
Yeah.
Because it's took for you to kind of take a step back a little bit. Do you do like mindfulness? Are you into kind of that sort of?
I do. And also I'm very lucky to have a group of very, very good girlfriends. There's about 10, 12 of us, all very independent, strong women. And we do talk about it a lot because we think, and all of us of the same generation, our diet culture, the constant chasing things. And a lot of us are reaching that same stage. And maybe it's because we're getting a bit older. I turned 40 last year, so that's a bit of a milestone, and maybe you start reflecting a little bit. And we say to each other, imagine if this wasn't constantly on your mind. I mean, we've achieved a lot anyway, but imagine with that headspace, you can fill that. Yeah, what you can do. Yeah. It's such a waste of time and energy, isn't it? Sometimes. Amongst friends, we have those conversations all the time, and we're all sort of trying to navigate that together, which is quite nice. But also no judgment if someone says, "I want to lose half a stone before my holiday." Of course, I get that.
Because it's about how you feel also, isn't it? I think, and there's a difference between being emotionally connected or emotionally overwhelmed with it all, and instead actually saying, "No, I do want to do this."
I think there's nothing wrong with also wanting to look good and still approaching from a vanity point of view. I mean, you could sit here and say, "I joined the gym because I want to look after future me, my health, whatever." That's also really, really valid. But I think it's also okay to say, I want to look a certain way, I want to feel good.
I totally agree. That gives you could argue it gives you confidence, I think.
Of course.
Which shows up in every other area, right?
Yeah.
So I agree entirely. That's really cool. That's a really nice thing to hear, actually. You sound like you've got a great circle as well.
Oh, I do, yeah. I'm really lucky.
Yeah, that sounds good.
Yeah.
Prior to coming to TBT then, been coming to TBT for 3 years.
Yeah.
That's TBT Fitness in Urmston. You're a regular 7 a.m.er.
Yeah.
Take my hat off to you. It's very early. What were you doing maybe just before coming to us? Still kind of the same thing? A commercial gym, for example?
Yeah, I actually hadn't trained for a while before then because, lockdown.
Yeah.
Which is when I just did a lot of walking. I actually lost a lot of weight during lockdown, which is probably quite the opposite to what a lot of people would have said, but it was all the walking.
Yeah, 100%.
And that actually also made me realize that it isn't necessarily the gym. The gym is good for other things, but it wasn't necessarily the gym that was creating that. And before that, I actually had to have surgery on my lower back.
Okay.
That's now 7-8 years ago. So I struggled really with back problems for a long time, and I was quite young then for that to be happening.
Was that an injury or?
No, it was a disc, slip disc.
Wow, okay.
But it just came out of nowhere, really. I mean, I had lower back problems for a while, but it wasn't like there was a moment where it suddenly just went that I can remember, really. But I was very lucky. I had private health through work, so went to see somebody. And it was a shock because they said, I could barely walk, but they said, right, operation, 2 weeks' time. So I had to have surgery.
Wow, yeah, big. But that went well, recovery went well.
Yeah, and that's also really nice because to be able to do the things I can now, I'm lucky that I can, considering at one point I could barely walk. I lost feeling in my foot. Okay, and had that not been sorted, I could have had, drop foot or anything really. Could have been a lasting thing. And I remember working with a physio, and it was a really, really long process because the doctors had said, right, you're young, you're fit and healthy, 6 to 8 weeks. And I really held on to that. And it took so much longer to get back to where I needed to be.
Okay, interesting.
It was really disappointing.
Why was that, do you think?
I've no idea. It just...
What was actually happening that was slowing it down? Was it just you kind of progressing with the things they were asking you to do?
Yeah, I was doing all the exercises. I actually was really religious with it. I was swimming, and I started getting problems elsewhere, and it's probably because my posture got fixed. So then I started getting problems in my hip, in my knee, and I just thought, oh, this is going to be me now forever. But I had a really nice physio, and she was so calm with me, and she's like, right, okay, it just takes a bit longer. Just have a bit of patience. Just keep going with it. And obviously core strength. And I went actually before TBT, it was at the Pilates studio in Urmston.
Okay, fab, yeah.
And
shout out to them.
Yeah, absolutely.
Louisa.
Yeah.
Yeah,
and that was a really good sort of breaching gap back into fitness. And I love that, but I wanted something a bit more active. It was too slow paced for me. It was obviously really good for my core, but so that's...
I think it is a great thing, actually. We've just got a Pilates studio in Timperley, and I was saying to somebody outside before, it works a lot of those little muscles that aren't getting worked, and so it really helps with the imbalances. Yeah. So it's probably set you up really nicely, for lifting weights.
Yeah, I think so.
Yeah.
And from that, the physio said to me, right, just be careful, you probably shouldn't do deadlift. But of course now it's one of my favourite lifts. Yeah. And when I do it, I'm like, I still get a bit nervous, but when I do it, I'm like, look at me. This is 80 kilos.
Yes,
look at me lifting it. Yeah, and it's such a nice feeling, really.
I think a lot of physios get cautious because the spectrum of quality of PT varies a great deal. And I think, a deadlift is a really easy lift to hurt your back.
Wrong,
to get wrong. Yeah, definitely. So I think a lot of them not knowing perhaps what we do or where you're training, they err on the side of caution, which I think is absolutely right.
Yeah, well, my mum would be the same. So she's a physio by trade.
Okay, of course.
And she was always a bit nervous about the way... She is old school. The cross trainer will fix everything.
Okay, interesting.
And but she appreciates, obviously, weightlifting is so good for your butt with the right guidance, and I think that's exactly what you said. She was nervous about starting with that because, if you do it wrong, you can get it really wrong.
Yeah, definitely.
Of course, like, you guys are so good on keep good form, just take your time. Also, you don't always have to lift your heaviest. It's so important just to get the good form. And that's what I've been doing recently. So every time Strength Week comes around, it's really tempting, isn't it, to try and get a PB?
Yeah, definitely.
But are you just doing that for your ego? Are you better off? I've actually more recently taken weight off and gone, squats, do them properly rather than just, for the sake of an extra 5 kilos on the bar. That's been a fun little project as well.
Yeah, it's a good idea. I think, what we was chatting actually with a guy in here the other day, Noel, about he was doing like a military press, and he's got quite a bit of weight on the bar, and he just kind of looked at me and he says, well, where do we go with this? Because I'm getting stronger all the time, but he goes, equally, it's like quite heavy now. And I just said that you haven't got to consistently hit PBs
not at all.
To benefit from it. I think it's a great thing to see your strength increasing. I think it's good for momentum.
Yeah.
And if you want a reason to keep going, it's quite a it's a nice thing to chase, especially when we've spent a bit of time talking about diet, for example, and weight loss. It's much nicer to focus on getting stronger.
Yeah, I love that too. Yeah.
But I agree, you don't constantly have to push yourself. I think you have to ask yourself what the goal is.
Yeah.
And if you do want to be, an Olympic lifter, to be honest, you're probably in the wrong gym.
Yeah.
I would hold my hands up and say that, but you don't have to consistently chase to feel the benefit. You need to maintain that strength and that muscle.
Yeah.
Cool. So surgery on your back, physio. Saw an advert, I imagine, for TBT. Yeah, we've been having a laugh about them today because they're everywhere. You've come to the gym. How did you approach your first sort of 4 or 6 weeks in the gym? What was your mindset? What do you think served you well or didn't? How did it go?
I was quite nervous going.
Interesting.
And even just that group environment and sort of knowing that there'd be 1 or 2 PTs there that would be all eyes on me, and I don't do well with that.
Okay.
But you know what? I felt comfortable instantly. It was so nice, and the people are obviously really lovely. And I've absolutely loved that. Actually, that's one of the big reasons why I'm still at the gym. Not that I don't love it anyway, but the community is great.
Yeah.
And I moved to Urmston not really knowing anyone.
Okay.
And now I can walk down the street, and every 5 minutes, and Chris is saying to me, gym? And I'm like, yeah, gym. always, everyone from the gym. But it's so nice. And people, it's really uplifting. People are always so encouraging. And that's what happened those first few weeks. I was quite nervous and you know, everyone was just helping out if you needed it, but also if they thought, oh, maybe today I'll just leave her to it, see how she gets on. You know, it wasn't pushy.
Did you train like 3 times a week? What was your kind of,
I said to myself 3 times a week minimum. And back then, I think there were still the sheets. Do you remember those?
Yeah. Oh, for tracking your weights.
It was, you got sort of it was almost a point system for if you hit your if you're
we
achieving.
did the 3 Fs.
The 3
I
Fs.
remember. Yeah, I do remember. For context, for anybody listening, this was a sort of little system we developed to offer the clients a little bit of accountability on a few of the things that we believe make a difference to your results ultimately. So we would have potentially tracked steps, maybe calories.
Yeah, if you wanted to.
If you wanted to, exactly, optional.
And so many sessions, sleep, and then so many sessions per week.
Yeah.
That you'd, but it was very much you set the tone for that yourself when you first started. Yeah. But it was quite nice because that was exactly it. And then it became a bit of a game for me. I was like, right, I want to get the good scores on this now on my little sheet of paper. And it's such a simple thing, but...
but gamifying it a little bit, I think is a good idea. It's why Apple Watches are popular, for example, and step trackers. It's like...
And that sort of kept me going, and then, I was hooked then. I loved it. Yeah. So it became easy for me. But I always did an evening class at first when I started. I don't know what made me do the switch to the morning, but
Did you do an evening class because you think, I'm up a bit more, I've had a bit more to eat. I
think I've just that's always been my routine, just to go to the gym straight from work.
Okay.
So I just carried that on, but actually I love training in the morning. It really sets me up for the day. Yeah, I don't think I could go back to the evening classes now.
Yeah, I know. Yeah. I mean, I have to get it done before midday, I think, otherwise it doesn't happen.
Yeah.
Okay, really, really cool. So, because I know that I've worked with you a couple of times on like the tracking and the calories and things like that. So, do you feel like you have had a sort of relationship in some senses with, like we talk about the weighing scales chasing away weight loss, food, nutrition in general? Like, how have you, like, throughout your life, have you had like relationships you're not happy with in that sense? Have they improved? What did they look like?
It's exactly what I was talking about before about removing the emotion from it. I love my food. I love to cook. I'm quite nutritionally aware now as well, which is nice. I've learned all that, and I'm lucky that I really enjoy cooking, so I can always make whatever I want into a healthy meal.
Nice dishes.
But I have always been someone that food was very quickly a reward, or if you're stressed or upset about something, there was always comfort in food for me. And I look at that a bit differently now, but that's all to do with just self-reflection and all of that we talked about before.
How do you look at it now, as opposed to maybe like, as either a reward potentially, or I'm stressed, or like a go-to? How does that look now for you?
So it's still very much a massive part of my life. I'm a massive foodie. I love eating out. But it isn't that I need to earn it.
Okay.
It's just, so say my birthday would be coming, I'm looking forward to picking a really nice restaurant.
Yeah,
but I'm not going to also then feel guilty about it and sort of starve myself for the week so that I can have that. And that was a really, I think when you and I were working together with tracking, I was in sort of a bit of a bad way with it because I was constantly, the results weren't coming quickly enough for me, so I'd crash diet.
Yeah.
And then that would never last. It would always be a couple of weeks I could do that for, and then of course I'd want to eat everything in sight because I was just really hungry.
Naturally as well, because we're going low.
And it just wasn't really working for me. So for a whole year, probably, I was just gaining and losing the same half stone. And I thought, okay, this is just silly. And I think it was chasing those fast results. And now it's much more of a long game and a health game. And like I said, I think taking the emotion out of everything is really nice. Just looking at a bit of a science experiment and tweaking. And
you've done really well with it. But I think I really like perhaps the way that relationship has developed around the food. I used to I'd eat when I was happy, or when I was celebrating. I'd eat when I was perhaps sad, or a bit low, or whatever. It was always like the go-to thing. And I think it develops your relationship with food in a negative way because, well, I'm trying to look like this or trying to get to this scale weight. Stop all the food. It's the food that's the problem.
Yeah.
Then when I've not hit that or something's got, then I'm eating. Then I'm annoyed that I've eaten.
Yeah.
And it can really easily, it can distort your relationship with food.
Yeah.
I love what you just said and how you said it. Actually, like, really looking forward to going out to a meal.
Yeah, it's great.
For whether it's an occasion or whether it's just a date night on a Friday night, right? That's how it should be.
Yeah.
Without guilt.
Yeah.
And I think guilt is a cycle that just never lets it go away, really.
Yeah.
And I think you've done really well there to kind of see it. I guess we talk about self-reflection a bit. I like that. I do a lot of that. Try and ask myself why I feel a certain way about something, or.
But it can get very uncomfortable when you have to do that, and it's just easier to gloss over it, isn't it?
100%.
And if you've got to go deep, then it's scary, isn't it, to go there?
Yeah, definitely. Yeah. But I don't know. I don't think there's a done. I don't think there's like a full stop. I've done it all now.
No,
I think,
not at all.
I agree with that comment totally. When these things are in there, they need a little bit more focus, perhaps. And it's uncomfortable to dig into them. But I guess it's it's all part of self-development. We're here for a good time, not a long time, right?
Yeah,
so
that's exactly right.
Cool. Okay. So then 3 years, community at the gym's serving you well.
Yeah.
I feel like you've just done really well, to be fair, which I do think you need to take a lot of credit for.
Thank you.
Because not everybody reacts like that, and sometimes it takes a long time to kind of get to where you're at with it. We've been able to pull the emotion out of it a little bit, which I think is good. Has why you attend the gym, or do you foresee why you attend the gym changing over the coming years, or the motivators behind it?
Yeah, definitely. As you're getting older. So initially, vanity all the way.
Yeah.
I wasn't expecting a six-pack, but I was like, that'd be nice to look good in a bikini on holiday.
Yeah.
And now it's, right, I've already had these back problems quite young. I need to just work on being strong. And it's so well known, isn't it, that if you build muscle, in later life.
Not well known enough, mate, but yeah, it is.
Well, I've been having this conversation with my dad because he's a really keen golfer and he's active. And then he joined the gym and he was similar to me, always on the cardio.
Okay.
And now he's starting seeing the benefit really of strength training. And I've been telling him for ages, that's what you need to be doing. He's approaching 70. I was like, this is for your future.
It's like the perfect time to do it.
But I kept telling him, but only when he realized it himself.
Yeah.
Was it working? But that's where I'm at as well now. It's so important, isn't it? It's just for want to live a long and healthy life and be as independent as you can be. Now I realized that anything could happen, couldn't it? So you don't always have control over it, but you might as well try and make the most of that. So that's definitely changed for me, as I'm getting older.
I think it's a natural progression, actually.
Yeah.
Two things that you said there. Firstly, your dad, we're all the same. I talked to my mum about it, my sister about it, my dad about it, have done for years. I think probably it's harder almost to hear it off me.
Yeah,
like, my dad will be like, I heard this on the thing, and I'm like, yeah, okay. My mum will be like, oh, did you know about this fasting thing? And I'm like, yeah, probably mentioned it a couple of years ago, mum. But we have to be ready, don't we? It has to come from within. We often talk about that, like the aha moment for someone, or the reason that kind of made them take the plunge in the first place. But also training for longevity and changing your goals. What I'm toying with at the moment for the gyms, which I think is going to be really cool, is there are certain things that we know are great measures of health and mortality. And so, for example, grip strength is one. VO2 max is another.
Yeah.
Muscle mass, huge, your ability to fight disease and all these things. So I'm actually, because InBody, so for anyone listening, we have InBody scanners at the gym, medical grade piece of equipment, and they check your body fats, muscle mass, etc. That company also do like a grip strength test. And so I'm going to kind of build one, I think, for anybody just generally looking or interested in longevity. Because I think what you said is absolutely right. For somebody not started the gym right now, take whatever you can to get yourself going. I've been there, wanted to look better, wanted to feel more confident in my skin. But it develops over time. And longevity, we know that if you can just lift weights, you are in the top percentile, right? You're maintaining muscle, which is going to maintain your ability, your mobility, your freedom.
Yeah.
And then we, in the gym, when we work on, things like box jumps, you mentioned box jumps. Box jumps is training your power. And power, we often, because for the average Joe Bloggs who doesn't want to be a power lifter or like a sprinter, or they don't feel like an athlete, they're like power, but power is a huge indicator of how you're going to be when you're older.
Yeah.
And I think it's like your fast twitch fibers, for example, you go to fall or trip and then injure yourself.
Yeah.
And they're linking all of these things now. So I think it's a great thing to focus on. I think that goal never goes.
Yeah, and it can be both, can't it?
Yeah, absolutely. Well, you can dabble in and out, can't you? You can have an event coming up. You can have this thing that you want to do, and you knuckle in a little bit. But longevity is a long-term project.
Yeah.
Yeah, excellent. Okay, so what would you say to somebody who was watching who's absolutely not convinced? And they kind of know they want to do it, or they feel like they should. But what would you say to that person?
Well, that's really easy. If I can do it, anyone can. That
but they think you're a gym head now, though, because of how you talk.
But I mean, no, but that's exactly it. I never thought I would be here 3 years in. I just thought, I'll give it a go. Why not? Give it a try. And if it doesn't work out, that's fine. But there's so much support in the gym. That's really, honestly, I think what got me through those first few weeks. Mm. And then that amazing feeling of, look at me, I can just do this. I can. I've totally changed my mindset about who I thought I was. And,
interesting. Yeah.
I think you've just got to give it a go. You've got nothing to lose, do you? Even if, Yeah,
that's why we offer the initial program. It's quite a short
really
commitment,
good.
Isn't it? Like 4 weeks, we do 4 or 6 weeks, but we're doing 4 weeks at the moment because we find it's just less of a, maybe that's quite a while.
I've actually just had one of my neighbours join.
Oh, fab, have you?
On the initial 4 to 6 weeks.
Perfect.
And she was nervous. She loves it.
Yeah.
Yeah. But
How long is she into it for now?
A couple of months now.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
Okay,
yeah.
Fab, flying.
Yeah, and she's doing really well. But that's exactly it. You just don't really know what to expect, I suppose. Mm. But if it's not for you, that's also okay. At least you've given it a go. Mm. But I think you've got nothing to lose by trying.
Is it full of gym heads, would you say?
Not at all.
Not at all?
No, not at all. What it is full of is, so I go to the women's gym, all these amazing women from all walks of life. And you just think, and all ages, and you just think, look at these powerful, amazing women. It's a real boost. It's nice. And it's also really good fun to just meet people from all different walks of life. Because I'm a lawyer and I work in law, and most of my friends are. So you just but you meet people and they just do all these amazing jobs. And even from that point of view, it's really cool
a social
to just,
aspect to it as well.
just meet people from all these different walks of life. But everyone's so supportive. And I honestly think, what have you got to lose? You can, if it's not for you, it's not for you.
I don't think these environments exist, for like adults in lots of ways, because, sometimes in like your career, it can be a competitive thing, and you've got to kind of keep up the, whatever you're doing, and you want to maybe benefit from a space where you can just be yourself and be honest and feel comfortable learning and not knowing it all in the beginning. I think because that's quite vulnerable for a lot of people, isn't it? But we get comments an awful lot about the community aspect of the gym.
Yeah, it's big.
I think I like the way you guys talk, because it's like that sort of, that confident, strong, powerful woman. And that's kind of what we're a part of there, which I think is epic. And I think, no matter what age you're at, because you can see it from both sides, that kind of younger person finding themselves, the earlier they find it, the better, in a sense. But there's never a better time to start. So, I love it when we have, I'm not going to call them old because they'll hurt me next time they see me, but a slightly older person, perhaps coming in and have never done it before. Always in my mind, I'm like, you have got so much to gain right now because you weren't doing it before. Yeah. So imagine, we put you through your paces for 12 weeks or so. Actually, how different is your body going to feel?
Well, because you make massive advances in the first few weeks, don't you? And you just think, look where I was in the beginning and look where I am now, even after 4 weeks. Yeah. And that's really fun. And I think that's probably what keeps people then, because they see massive progress. in whatever they want to see progress in, in how strong they are, or someone like me that thought I'd never be able to do this, and there I was.
What are some of the things that you've done in the gym that you didn't think would have been possible then? Let's hear them. What are we currently doing in there?
Well, for starters, just lifting
deadlift,
quite heavy.
You mentioned an 80 kilo deadlift before.
Just lifting really heavy weights, and just thought, well, that's just not for me, but now I'm doing it. And all the things, like I said before, I'm very clumsy, so things like box jumps, but it took me about 2 years to even there. I was just stepping onto that little box, and I thought, you know what, no one's looking, I'm just going to go for it.
Love that.
I mean, I nearly tripped, but it was fine. I made it.
You did it. What's really cool with you is it's almost like that kind of almost label that you say you had.
Yeah.
You said it right at the start, but they almost kind of and it's completely not right, was it? It was just the environment, perhaps, that wasn't right for you.
Yeah, well, it's interesting. I've been quite underconfident. I'm quite a shy person, and it's strange, isn't it? Because I'm a really empathetic person. I would be that listening ear for my friends. I think they would say that about me, but I'm not always that kind to myself.
To yourself, yeah, interesting.
And it's strange that, but just the confidence that I've gained from the gym has been amazing, because I've proven to myself that I've done, that I can do it.
Yeah, that you're doing things that you didn't think you could potentially. Yeah.
I remember you came to the Emerson gym and you said, "Oh, you're going to join a High Rocks then?" And I just sort of thought, what, is he looking at me? What are you talking about? It's like, you've been training for 3 years, you could do it. And I've not entered yet.
But you're going to.
Well, who knows? But the fact that you thought I could do that, but I was really surprised. And I thought, well, why not? I have been training for 3 years, but that was kind of a cool moment.
Yeah, no, it's
you
right.
You might even remember that, but I was like, oh, okay, I guess I am that person.
I think because sometimes I'm not sure if it's 100% of everyone, but sometimes I look at our clients and I think, do you know how badass you are in the gym? And they don't.
Yeah.
Because they're still in their world a little bit like, no, well, I'm just doing this. No, 1 minute. Go to a proper commercial gym now and go and do that in the middle of the gym floor. There are going to be a few eyes on you thinking, what's going on there, right? So nice. You guys train really hard. And again, don't want to talk like that too much on this because I don't want to put people off it, but it's the progression. Yeah. As you just said, 2 years to build up the kind of the desire, I guess, or not the desire, but the courage to jump the box.
Yeah.
And now you're flying at it, I imagine.
Yeah. Oh yeah, it's good. Yeah. Not quite the black box yet, but
no, but almost. No, it's good. It's how it starts. Yeah. It's really nice to hear your journey. Honda, thank you very much for coming in today and speaking to us.
Thank you.
It's been really nice to hear your insights, how you've grown, I guess, being a part of what we do at the gym. It makes me feel really warm inside. Mm-hmm. Long may it continue.
Yeah,
and I appreciate you coming down today.
Thank you.
Thank you very much.
All right.
I just want to say a massive thank you to Honda for coming on the show today and sharing some of her a journey with health and fitness and how it's impacted her and allowed her to develop personally. If you've watched today's episode and any of it's been relatable or you felt like it's helped you in any way, please drop us a comment and let us know. That'd be useful. Or if you would like just some more details or information on how we might be able to help you here at one of our training facilities, please just click the link in the description of the video and I will be in touch. Thanks for watching. See you on the next one.